Okay, this is the City of Hazlehurst Called Meeting. It's held at City Hall Conference Room, today's date Tuesday, August 25th, 2015, 6 p.m. or thereabout. I do call the meeting to order. Now, I'm going to ask Mr. Griffin to give invocation this time, please. Will you?
That's great. Our Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings, many blessings that you've sent to us and everything. Thank you for the rain and sunshine. Thank you for allowing us to take care of our city business here. Let us be prudent and wise in what we do. Make it be in the best interest of our city. All these things we ask in your Son Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Approval of agenda, gentlemen. If you have an opportunity to look over this, I'd like a motion to approve this agenda at this time, please.
I'll make a motion.
God makes a motion to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Johnson. If there's no discussion, I'll ask that we vote now. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? A like sign? Okay, thank you. First, did you vote either way?
Yeah.
For the record?
Yes.
Okay. Moving right along. We have a rather short agenda, but everything is very important. We do have some serious matters here. Item number one, we need to discuss and possibly vote on the purchase of a zero-turn lawnmower for our golf course. I hope that Mr. Perkins is prepared. Is your guy coming tonight?
We didn't have it on the agenda, so
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
who you talking about?
Item one, to discuss and vote possibly for more.
Are you talking about the John Deere guy?
Yeah.
Well, the way I thought we agreed that Jeff and Bland had both recommended Badwar because it lasts longer and they don't sell Badwar, John Deere, so I didn't ask him to come.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the issue is to buy a mower or not to buy a mower. I don't think we've actually voted to buy it. Am I correct? So, that is where we stand. If I understand it correctly, I'll just begin talking about it unless someone else would. The golf course feels the need to own a new zero turn, is that correct?
Mhm.
For the purpose of mowing the woods or the roof out there. Of course, they could mow the grass around the building too with it. They could use it several ways. At this point, I want to say that Jeff Jones had his guy go out there today and mow it, and they did a real good job. And well, they hadn't finished, but they were going to finish it tomorrow. So that, I guess, is a possibility, at least for the time being, that Jeff's man could possibly mow that around that building. On the road ditch out front, if y'all haven't seen it, you need to drive by there and look and see how good it looks. It has to be mowed now. So I think we need to talk about the overall need for it. We have purchased a tractor rotary mower within the last 3 months, new, for that purpose also. And I think it works. I think it's doing a good job. It costs $600 or $800. However, I feel sure it's not as handy and quick and this and that as a zero turn, but it is a functional piece of equipment. And also, and I don't know how it's turned out. I was out there one day and they had drug up a finish mower out of the woods, bushes, Bryce had. And the Miles guy says he could fix it where it would be operational for probably less than $100. Is that right, Bryce?
Yes.
Has he done anything with it yet, or?
He should have it this week. We should have it sometime this
And
week.
that could be used for woods mowing, right?
Yes.
Uh, So there we are. We're looking at buying a mower to cut the woods. Personally, I don't know that we need to put a brand new zero turn in the woods. I just don't feel like they're designed and made for that. Now, I'm sure it would cut grass. Where do you put it? But I wouldn't put a mower of mine, a zero turn of mine in the woods. I can tell you that much, and I wouldn't allow anybody else to do it. So that, I mean, there are issues that we need to talk about tonight, I think. I'm just not being stubborn, but I mean, I call myself trying to be sensible. Plus the fact that we're still crawling. We're not even standing up yet on that. And we got a lot of promises that I hope will be kept this month. Well, in September, I hope that the man came and promised us first 12 $5,000 members will come to fruition. And then before the meeting was over, it changed to 12 $3,000 accounts. And I'm depending on that heavily. We need that kind of support. If we don't get that kind of support, it's going to affect our budget, which is sort of non-existent out there. I'm not trying to say we're going to close things down. We're not. I hope. But I'm depending, praying that that guy's going to come across, or whoever, these people are going to step up and pay up and become members. And we're going to see usage increase more and more. But there's this.
But if you get
There's no mention here then, I guess, really about, I've heard through the grapevine, you might say that there's, John Deere wanted us to go ahead and sign a new agreement, a lease agreement. Is that right, Mr. Carter?
Yeah, but that's a different matter altogether.
There was some discussion, I think, amongst some people. I've not been in on the discussions, but possibly of adding on a zero turn on to the next contract, next.
No, we weren't going to do that because Jeff and Bland had recommended the backboard. And so we just weren't going to release a zero
I
turn
see.
from John
That
Deere.
eliminated that.
Mhm.
Well,
Well, if you don't just have to have a new one, I saw some good looking ones out y'all the other day. I don't know.
but any kind, I wouldn't even, I definitely wouldn't put a new mower in the woods. We struggled around here to find that Paul Eric Cooper one. He was driving junk until we finally got him moved up into something decent. And now we've got another bad boy. Raphael's cutting grass with it. We're proud of that fact. But put a brand new one in the woods, I'm sorry. I'm not in favor of that. I don't know what everybody thinks.
Did we switch it with other departments?
I'm ready to hear other discussion
I mean,
about it.
Well, here's actually, this is a zero turn per se for the golf course. It's really for the water and sewer department, because they need one out there at the treatment plant. The one they've got just about dead, and that's the one we've been using on the golf course. So we've still got to take care of the water and sewer department, right, Lane? We still got to do something about that,
They,
whether we get this bad boy or
they
something
are,
else.
of course, the usage is quadruple now, I guess, since we've gotten the golf course back, but Monty's gonna have a mower to cut, but it usually works that he gets, or to use the term hand-me-down, I think could apply, he would get one eventually from, whichever is the worst, the oldest one that Jeff's got now. His is both practically new, but anyway, he's in line somewhere to get a hand-me-down, or someone is gonna cut his grass from the street department. But the fact remains, now, they have a Kubota tractor out there with a brand new rotary mower, and it will cut grass, right, Bryce?
To a
Yes,
certain
ma'am.
point.
Yes, ma'am.
Not on the golf course, it does.
In the woods.
No, we can't get it low enough.
You don't cut it low, you told me to cut it that high. Right?
John Deere's offered us in their, this is another
Yeah,
thing.
you showed me the grass.
Take a zero turn and set it at 3 inches high, and you'll see the difference in that and that rotary mower. It's a big difference. And you don't hit roots at 3 inches high. I've done it when John, the county had it with their zero turns.
Y'all
I
hit a-
cut
hit a
everything out
stump.
there.
They
Never hit a
the
stump.
rotary mower and tore it a shear pin.
Because I try to get it lower where I can see, we can find the golf balls or
Rotary
golfers
mower
hit.
hits the stump, a zero turn will too. I just don't see, I mean, and we're in the fall of the year, Frank. I don't see that we're doing what's in the best interest of the citizens. I mean, this is not Augusta National. We want our course to be usable and playable, but at the same time, we're trying to go gradually, which Mr. Johnson just said numerous times, and I agree with him. We got to kind of go slowly and not just expect to get everything that we want for that golf course now.
But I was under the impression, I probably, first of all these different mowers and got me confused. See, I would use one mower on everything. But I'm serious. But I was under the impression that the guy was coming and that y'all were gonna talk with him. And that everything that you could get in that agreement, you know, the 0 degree and all of it, if it was there together, like a lease purchase or whatever, and then it would keep it good over a period of time. That's what I was thinking after the last meeting, that y'all were gonna talk with him.
All right.
I didn't know.
Let me, again, this is not the subject. I would have brought those figures if I'd known we were gonna talk about all golf course. I thought we were talking about the zero turn lawnmower, which is going actually to the water department. That's what I thought we were going to, so I didn't bring all that information. Eric and I sat down and talked with him. What he has recommended is that, I told him that we probably wouldn't need the zero turn. That was one of the things in his lease proposal, because we wanted to buy it through the water department for one thing, and the plan wanted a bad one, you know. So that came off the table right, you know, as soon as we got through talking to him.
Okay.
But he did recommend what's called a rough mower. And it's see, the thing is on the rough, the rough is just that, it's rough.
Yeah.
And if you follow, if you go on with a fixed deck, like a zero turns really aren't good for roughs.
Okay.
If you did it on a fixed deck and you ran over a hill, then you're gonna clip that hill off. You know, because the ground, the fairway mower has, how many different uses? 5?
It had 5 5 or 6 different floating heads.
floating heads, and what they do, when they hit the head, they're gonna go with the contour.
And that's for what now?
That's the
Fairway.
mower. And see, it kind of does like that, goes over the hills and everything. You don't wear out your blades nearly as quickly because of that and so forth. So, one of the first things that, now, you know, Bryce has forgotten more about keeping up with golf courses than I've ever known. And one of the first things he said to me, the first week or so that he was out there, he says, we gotta get rid of those zero turns in the rough. You remember that? I mean, they just don't work in the rough, but we were just trying to get by, you know, before, rather than getting the fairway. But we gotta have something to cut it that's designed to cut that kind of stuff.
What was the purchase of the rotary, the tractor rotary mower? Why did y'all buy that?
Because we had something to make it last us until March, when we thought the contract was going to end until March, and we couldn't wait around until March to get something to do it with. We were just trying to get by.
Well, I would be in favor of leaving that lease alone and let it mature in March, I guess, if that's the case. And unless I would not consider stopping that now and redo it, simply because, for one thing, there's no bidding process involved. The guy just keeps his foot in the door by doing that. And I don't think that's fair or in the best interest of the city to avoid a bidding process. So, me and Tasha spent a week or 10 days dealing with that, trying to get that lease straightened out and get it in our name, and now to consider terminating it, I wouldn't. And at the same time, in March, we'll see sort of where we stand financially with the golf. Hopefully we'll be in good shape.
I think mainly what it, the better we make the golf course look, the more we'll be able to charge. And golfers are very finicky. And if they come and, certain things they can't find their golf balls and stuff like that, they'll quit coming completely and just go somewhere else. And I think that's what we run into. That's why we were so adamant about getting things done faster.
Right.
The only complaints I've heard about, of course, so, everybody realizes how bad the main complaints are coming about the roughs, and how high they've gotten, and the fact that there's pine cones all in there, and the hit balls and pine cones, and it disappears.
I would think that somebody, maybe prison detail, don't have to get in there. I don't think these two guys can do it and get that mess out. I saw limbs laying in there big around my arm and millions of pine cones. Well, they need to go somewhere. Now, you can't grind them.
But we can't afford to hire the personnel to do it. Right now, we don't have cruisers to do it.
Well, I mean, we're about to try to see about that. If we get to putting chips in these beds, we'd go into. But you cannot run over limbs big as your arm with any lawnmower. Thousands of pine cones, they got to be fixed up and kept it.
Now, this is where the pine cones and the limbs is where y'all say gotta be cut.
Yeah.
That's where,
They cut there too. I'm telling you, that place is in terrible shape, and there's just so much that two men can do out there.
yeah.
And
That's right. It can't work miracles, but now.
I think that's why we're so adamant about having the right equipment to do it with, so we would be able to keep up and do the right, as far as the limbs per se, I mean, we'll get off the lawnmowers and pick them up out of the way before we cut.
Instead of moving them around, y'all need to get rid of them.
Well, what's the possibility going through there if somebody just burning that stuff off, pine cones, pine trode, limbs and all that?
Well, the
And just
county
keep the
did
fire
that.
off the trees.
county did that last
Well,
year.
they didn't keep the fire off the trees.
Right, yeah, you're right about that.
But you can call the forestry department and pay them a small fee and they'll
Does
do
that
it
have
for
a
you.
detrimental effect on golfing? I mean, to burn it off in the winter
Well,
time?
you'd be able to go in there, you wouldn't have all that debris you was cutting over to start with, and all that would be
But I
gone.
wouldn't want to run off the golfers because it was black as smut and, you know, all that. Would it?
Nope.
Wouldn't
They'll be
bother.
fine with it, they'll find
If
it
you
off.
cut a couple rings on it, that stuff would be gone. Good
We need to
enough.
be sensible with this thing, and again, I don't want you guys to work with one hand tied behind your back. Now, we can't have everything we want, not in the city of Hazlehurst, okay? This is Hazlehurst, Georgia, not Augusta. And it's not Douglas, it's not Vidalia, it's not Macon.
Well, we're not even approaching trying to buy the kind of equipment those people, all we want is to lease the bare minimum equipment that we can lease. That's all we want to do.
Yeah.
We don't want to have the stuff that Vidalia has, or, well, we do want to have it, but
Yeah.
that's not what we're proposing to do. What we were proposing to do is lease the bare minimum that we can get by with.
In March.
No, we were planning on doing it November 1, but I guess now we'll
Can
get counts go along with it,
the,
we'll wait tomorrow.
can the forestry be approached to help the city with that? Since this is yeah, I mean, along with the fire department, 'cause we still don't want nothing to start taking place like they got out west. You know,
Right.
if they control it to
Don't
help
want
the
trees
city, since the
burning.
city is trying to get it back up to par for our people, can we talk with them about that?
I would think so. I know when usually they charge a small fee, but I'm sure they can compromise in some way, if we would talk with them. But, when they do it, it's insured, from my understanding. So if anything were to happen, you know, in that regard, it would still be covered.
I think there needs to be some more thought about this thing. And, before we leap into it, go ahead and say some.
Well, what we took and when we talked to the representative from John Deere the other day, what he took and put out there was a bare bones, what you need to run a golf course. It was a bare bones deal. You could opt out of some parts, you could not, you didn't have to get the whole package, it could be changed around. And as Mr. Purser said, we took and, told him we wouldn't take and even, broach doing anything as far as a zero-turn mower, and we wouldn't be able to do anything unless we brought it before the council, proposed everything. I said Mr. Purser didn't bring it because that was not what was here and everything. But he also took and proposed that in starting the new lease agreement and everything, if we opted to do so, there would also be a 4-year
Yes.
maintenance agreement. Now, I say maintenance on certain parts, individual things, whatever, this, that, and the other, that go bad, they replace it for 4 years. That was one of the parts. When I said, I don't have the whole thing in front of me, Mr. Purser's got everything and whatever else. But the thing about it is, we're paying a lease now. To opt
We
out,
didn't have any choice.
I understand
We
that.
fell into that.
I understand that. But that's, if we wanted to take and do what would be in the best interest of the golf course, it may behoove us to take and look at this, and if we have to take and come back and broach this subject again in another meeting or whatever else, that's fine, so Mr. Purser could have everything, and y'all could look at it and possibly even call the rep to come down here and talk to the entire council, and he can explain all of it down to the detail and whatever else. But what he has proposed is a bare minimum that you need to run a golf course. He has told us this is not what you need to run Vidalia, this is not what you need to run Baxley, it ain't what you need to run, it's not even close to it. It's what you need to run a 9-hole golf course. Now, we would still have a lease, which we're gonna have regardless, up until March. And if we take and terminate this and started another one, then we would have new equipment under a lease and everything, with an option to buy it out at the end of the lease. Or we could turn around and release new equipment at that time. but that also come with a 4-year warranty on some of the parts and everything else too. They come down, replace it, no problem. Now, normal wear stuff like blades and things like that, we know that's not warranty. We know that. There's gonna be issues that are not warranty issues, that are maintenance items that we have to keep up. But if we don't have the proper equipment to attack what we've got out there, we start out with one hand behind our back. We understand this is a slow process. I know that, and we've all said that. But slow doesn't mean you tell somebody to dig a hole and don't give them a shovel. Now, I suppose my piece, that's entirely up to y'all. I mean, I just want y'all to know how I feel. about it.
The zero turn is actually what, that was included in his lease agreement, and really we're going far afield from what we, I thought we could. That's why I didn't bring any of that information. I did not know we were going through all this. But you take the rough mower and you rough, and there's some you cut, and there's some places you can't get to with that wide rough mower. So the zero turn is simply to fill in the uncut edges, is what it is. So it's not like it's cutting the whole rough. It's just cutting the part of the rough that you miss because of how wide that the rough mower is.
I don't suggest that we wait until September's over and see how much money we've actually gotten in. We've got a lot of promises. I want to see the money. We're not going to bankrupt the city with a golf course if we get it. I don't see the urgency of doing this now. I would have to be opposed to this purchase.
Well, in the meantime, can we, look at the
That's next week.
John Deere people's actually coming in and bringing that,
It would come
agreement?
anytime. It would
Yeah.
come tonight, but we didn't have it on the agenda, so I told him not to come.
Okay, I don't know that, I had the impression that, you were gonna talk to them, but then it was gonna come where we could actually do it, because my mind was that they may have everything in that agreement that you need. And if they got everything in that agreement that you need, we might could actually get them where you can bring them down and do it. But, I just think that maybe they need to still approach them to come and let's look over that agreement and see if you can't get everything you need instead of piecing it here. It may not be the kind of more that
If we
you
can,
want,
if we can,
but it'll be the proper move.
Yes.
if we can only act on this one item, I've stated my position on what, anybody else have anything you'd like to say about the calls you?
No,
Oh,
Lance, how about you, Ed, you need the mower? Just for your part. The golf course is just gonna borrow.
Glenn
Plan.
Williams, you're in a particular squeeze, I would say, but as far as your water and sewer, you actually don't need it other than for Monty's property, is that correct?
Money's property, right? We could use it, but we don't have any way to transport it. But,
It really has no effect on your operation of your department other than.
we at the point out, we gotta get them, they can't wear out that. I mean, it's clearly flying off our now.
You have the privilege of being the most able to buy it financially, maybe. But I want this, no matter what we do, if you do buy it, your money's good as anybody else's, but I want it charged against the golf course. I want to see the numbers on the golf course, how much we're spending, how much is going out. It has to come close to doing something like breaking even. I mean, in theory, I'm not saying it has to actually, but, okay, I want the expense to be shown as a golf course expense, even though you pay it, if that ever happens. You're not Santa Claus, are you? Okay.
On this matter here, item number 1, I'll make a motion, we table this until further.
Second motion.
Now I have a motion to table.
Second.
Item 1 from Mr. Griffin, now I have a second from Mr. Johnson. Any other discussion prior to voting?
If it's tabled, it's not to further, it's till the next meeting.
as I understand it.
Okay.
Next regular scheduled meeting, I would guess.
Next meeting.
Next
We do
workshop.
regular schedule, whatever.
Work session's the next regular scheduled meeting. I mean,
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay?
When can the gentleman, oh, we don't go?
No, let's go ahead with, unless there's any other discussion, let's go ahead. We've have a motion to table in a second. All those in favor of tabling this item number one issue, please say yes.
Yes.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
First or opposes. Okay, thank you. Let's move ahead to item two. We're going to discuss and/or vote on the purchase of a motor grader from, this is actually a typo. We've got Miller Equipment for Public Works, but actually it's known as Rebel Auction, which is just a typo, we could call it. Jeff, you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, we're still good. I just want to point that out. I think most of us are familiar with this need. It's arisen kind of quickly, but still, it could be connected with the fact that we have just purchased a much-needed striping machine. And with that, we can stripe our center lines and parking lots, whatever. Also, there's a need in the city, and has been for many, many years. I don't guess there's been a motor grader owned in the city since it was pulled by a mule, probably.
Now, we've had one,
Okay.
or a couple of them.
It's been a long time since we really had one. Since that time, many streets in this city have shrunk, dirt encroaches on the side of, for example, on the street that runs beside my house, it's almost a one-lane street, or a lane and a half now, because it needs clipping, it needs grading.
Clipping the shoulders.
Yeah, clipping the shoulder. This is a tremendous undertaking to do this work, because it's, I don't know how many miles of street, cheap land, you know, how many miles of street work? Dirt, I think, well, not dirt.
I think it's 42, 47.
Okay. I am impressed that Jeff is willing to undertake this task, because it's gonna be a huge task, but it needs to be done. And it cannot be done overnight. It's gonna be a whenever they can situation. They'll get this motor grader out, it won't be used all the time, but occasionally. But we're all familiar with it. I think they've made a wise choice. I've looked at it personally, others that may have too. It seems to be in very good shape. However, it's as is where it is, just like any used item, but it seems to be practically as good as a new one for what, a third the money? And also, the big thing in it is that we have the SPOS funds in the bank and more than enough to pay for this item through SPOS funds. Which, you know, money's money, but still, it should have no bearing on the taxpayers. They shouldn't see a tax increase due to buying this motor grader. And I think it's a much needed item. I personally am in favor of the purchase. So I'm just gonna start it off at that. It's sort of my opening statement on it. And I'll ask for a motion on this item, and we'll have a second, and then a
I'll make a
discussion.
motion that we purchase the motor grader.
I have a
I think we need
motion
it.
from Mr. McCall. Do I have a second, gentlemen?
I second it.
I have a second from Mr. Griffith. Now, discussion in this matter. When anyone, prior to voting, hear none, all in favor of making this purchase, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Like sign? None. Thank you very much. that's a done deal.
Thank you.
Let's move ahead to item 3. We need to discuss or vote on hiring a person to work at the pro shop at the golf course. Now, recently, I don't remember if it was in the workshop or last meeting, Cody had an idea about people in the community might be interested in volunteering to work out there in the pro shop in exchange for free golf play. And y'all know what I mean. I mean, they work, and instead of getting a salary, they would be able to play golf free. And that seemed like something we were all interested in. That would seem that would be a cheap way to run the pro shop, at least some of the time. But and Mr. Purser said, well, I'll put an ad in the ledger and won't charge the city for putting the ad in there. We'll see. Well, to my knowledge, was the ad in there, Tom?
It's a news article, not an ad, no, I didn't put it in this week.
Okay. So then, really about the same time, we've made arrangements with a young lady who works for Mr. Purser part-time at the Ledger to fill in. She's not technically has not been hired, I don't suppose, because I don't know any physical or any other requirements for employment, but at the same time, we need to back up and decide what we're gonna do here. We're gonna go ahead and try to get somebody to volunteer in exchange for play, or have we decided just to go ahead and hire someone on a part-time basis to run it? So there's,
I think we should hire someone on a part-time basis to take and fill in and everything. It's my opinion.
we don't want to try to do otherwise.
I think if we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and you get a part-time person, then we're gonna be into it. But until you get that group to run this place, you know, you gotta have a hand in it some kind of way.
By group, you referred to what?
That board
Committee or
Yeah,
something?
I thought you were supposed to be getting somebody out there to start putting this stuff in place. So the only way that you're gonna be able to do it then would be for you to make sure you have somebody out there. If you're just going with volunteer or whatever, I think it's gonna be really open, you know, to do that. I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
You have doubts about volunteers, really?
I do. If that's what we're going, that's why I think it's so important to start getting those people in place to start handling things like that. Because see, we doing what the group that's gonna run the golf course should be doing. They would be responsible for getting somebody in place to do it. So since they ain't there, the city has to have some kind of way of making sure that somebody is there to control things until you get that over.
Well, I just don't know that we can really afford it, but yeah.
But is
I
this-
think that, it really would be nice to have somebody there. But at the same time, we're, somehow, maybe it could change, but this golf course is now under Jeff Jones. Right, Jeff? That's your department.
Your turn.
Yeah, okay.
Christmas present.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Well, I'm sorry, but you need to be involved in the hiring process. I suppose if we do hire someone, don't you agree?
If I was to hire an employee, I would agree with you. If I was to hire.
I really, and this may be a good question, time to ask this question, excuse me if it's dumb, but is it possible to have, is it possible for the golf course to be on its own department Would that be a foolish thing?
I thought, from my knowledge, that's what it was. But, or, yeah, am I misled?
You don't seem to have much input into it, do you? I mean, really,
Play golf. I
you don't
mean,
play golf.
I've got enough work here. I don't mind helping if I can help, being the city property or whatever.
Right.
But as far as what I've got going on here in town, I've got my plate full.
Absolutely. And then some, running over.
But
I thought it was gonna be a
I had
standalone
some
thing.
else on him.
I'm asking the council, is it possible to have a golf course? on its
If I
own?
can interject, Ken mentioned this at the last meeting, when we were drafting this document, and I'd like to meet with you this Thursday if you're available, because I've got it completed. That we were gonna segregate the golf course into its own department, because there's gonna be, if you put it under Jeff, that's just too many people involved in the process. No offense, Jeff. Trying to help you. But you got too many people involved in the process if you put them under Jeff. That's why we were gonna move it to its own department and have it under a commissioner. And then that course, whoever the supervisor is, would communicate directly to the councilman or assuming official person, and then he could bring it to the board. Or, the supervisor could communicate with the committee, and they could bring it to Mr. Person, however we're gonna work that out. But the way we designed it was it being a separate department.
Well, I think I like that idea. I suppose it'd be a business-like way to do it.
I know Jeff wouldn't mind helping anything he could do, but his bucket's full.
He still needs to be probably involved with some and things there, but because you got
He's helping
stuff
her
trucks
out now.
and you got this and that and whatever, but I think we need to work on our hiring process for the golf course, if it comes to it. Well, they will certainly have to go through the hiring process that everybody else in the city that works for the city has to go through. We can't treat them differently, I would suppose. So, that's my thoughts on that. So with that being said, are we ready to talk about the fact that we need to hire somebody, or what's your choice? Or ask for volunteers? We said we'd ask for, but we didn't. Well,
I mean, I spoke my piece, I told you I think we need to hire somebody, and if we can get volunteers after that, we still need to have somebody to hire, we need to hire somebody. Now, we can hire all the people in the world and everything else, but we still, at the end of the day, if they're just gonna be running the pro shop, that's fine. But we've still got to take and make sure that we do this. We go back and cover all our bases, so we can give the people that are out there what we need to work with. That's the bottom line right there. We can hire all the people in the world, but if you don't give them what you need to work with, you shoot yourself in the foot. Now, we've taken and we've
I don't
taken.
think anybody in this room wants to deny them what their basic things that they need. Now, they may not have again what they got by the age of this.
We don't want that. If we wanted that, that's what nobody's asking for that, Jeff. Ain't nobody's asking for it. We're talking
Well,
about.
let me ask you, I guess I'm interrupting, but how many people at this table rent or lease a car? Is that what? Is that
What
something?
does that doesn't have
What does that have
anything to
anything to do with golf equipment, Jeff?
We're leasing equipment. Is that,
Every golf course around anywhere, no matter if it's CI or if it's Augusta, they lease equipment. They do not buy it. They don't
They either
purchase
lease it or they lease out the services. or
Exactly.
hire out the
One or the
services,
other.
one load.
it. You do one or the other. You don't.
It's just
take
like
it.
farmers these days don't buy tractors, they lease
They
it.
lease it.
well, we were dumped this in our lap, this lease. And I say play it out, and at least give the citizens an opportunity to see us ask for bids on another lease. And just be sure of what we're gonna get and what we need We got a buffalo blower that I don't think's been turned on. I don't think we even need it, or we can't use it, or something's going on. We need to be sure not jump right off and do something.
You need the buffalo blower.
You have to have, you got to have your little ducks in a row. You got to have some sense of money coming in before you can do certain things. Now, if we need a buffalo blower, we will have it. Okay, that's not an issue. But I don't see the urgency in tearing up a lease and starting over again midstream, and we don't even know if they're gonna have any, we'll know at the end of September. We'll know a lot in September, and I hope we've got more money and we know what to do with it. Okay? But it's not promised to us, is it? Okay? But now, where are we? I think we were talking about hiring somebody. Mr. Griffin mentioned the equipment, so let's jump back to the hiring process, sir.
I told everybody, that every possibility, I mentioned this last Saturday night, I knew this wasn't done the way it should have been done, but we were in a bind and we had to do something. Nobody said anything to me other than, I understand, we're in a bind, we've got to have somebody out there. So that's why I did it. The woman quit her other job because I thought it was okay, but apparently it's not okay. And now she's in pickle if we don't hire her. And that's,
Well, I don't know how many people have asked me, well, I thought it was this and that. How do you get a job at the golf course? Oh, well. We have to go through the whole.
well, I'm sorry. I thought we had to have somebody in there for the weekend. I didn't have the time to do it, and nobody else offered to help me. And I was alone, and I had to do something.
I'll tell you what we can do, we can put a cable across the road out there and close the thing down.
No, wait, y'all.
That's what you want to do, then do it.
Wait, listen, let's stop a minute, let's back up. Y'all, because now we in the middle of it, it's getting tense, y'all, and it's frustrating. But again, if you just come and work together, we're gonna get through this, and it'll work out. We all trying to get the same place, but we're trying to get there at different speeds. And if you just keep talking, you're gonna be fine. Whether it's lease or whether it's hiring, we know everything we're doing got to be done. I just sat here and listened to two things that we discussed the last time that we're going back over. Talking about the golf course department, we done already discussed that you wanted to have it set up like the airport. So if you got it set up like that, it's gonna make it work. It just got to take time to get there. And we're gonna get there. If you just don't get at each other, you started off doing good, we ain't gonna put up no change, y'all, now. So let's go slow with it. And we got to have somebody out there. And I think you was chosen to look after that one time. And you say you done got somebody to do that?
I'll tell her not to come in.
No, wait a
I'll
minute.
give her
You done, you
something.
done,
If that's a problem.
you done picked somebody already
She's already been working for 2 weeks.
out there? Well,
And nobody,
We discussed-
this is last Thursday's meeting, and nobody said a word about it.
because now, we did discuss one time that he was supposed to be handling different things now, you know. So if he done got somebody, we need to actually look at what we need to do.
I know it's been a burden on Mr. Parker, and it still is. And I wonder sometimes if he's not sorry for asking to sort of be over it, because if it's going to put you in a terrible situation, you need to have the right to opt out, because I don't want you to pull your hair out about the whole situation. I mean, we don't get to talk hardly at all about this golf course.
So why don't y'all get Cody, if Cody's idea, tell Cody to get us some volunteers for Saturday and Sunday at least, because she's not coming back. I don't think she wants to work if she's not wanted out there.
Well, nobody said she's not wanted. we need to clear this matter up and be done with it, move on. If y'all want to hire full-time, 40 hours, let's go. So let's do it. Just do it to the channel. Let her continue to work and take applications or whatever the procedure is for hiring somebody, and then if she seems like she's the best choice, then otherwise,
Well,
people ask me every day.
do we have an application on file for it?
Yeah,
We do. We do.
you have an application for a different position.
Okay, we have an application on file, then all we need to do is take and we can process the application, go through the process and be done with it. I mean, it's not, we're not reinventing the wheel, there's no
So
secret.
you're gonna ask other people to put it in the paper and say the job's available and give them the opportunity to apply or not?
We can hire from application, can we not?
As long as we've got an application to be pulled from, Jack. I mean, it's just a matter of what the city needs at the time.
I don't write the rules. Somebody just needs to give me some guidance on this thing. But I do have to, I get asked questions. And, that's it. So shall we just table this and let her continue to work as she is now, Tommy? Is that okay?
Apparently it's not. I want everybody on this table to be happy with it. If they're not happy with it, there's no need in us going through. No, there's no need in us doing it. If we're not together on this, then it's wasting our time.
I think-
We don't at least have a majority.
I think where you may have made a mistake if you saying what you're doing, what, I understand what you're saying. We gave him permission to go out there and do different things. And now he's got somebody and hired him. And now, but you're saying that was okay, but then we should have went through a process.
We should have went through the process.
And maybe we need to apologize because we done that, but he needed somebody, if we go through this one individual.
Here's what I think we need to do. We have our attorney sitting right here, Mr. Smith, what do you think? Under circumstances.
Listen,
Well, I don't-
we don't need to go, listen, I know I did it wrong. I
No.
said, now listen, I said at the time that I was doing it wrong, this is not the way we should do it. But there was a rush, we needed to get some income coming into that golf course. We needed to do something. I didn't have the time to sit out there and run that golf course. And so we got somebody, I thought everybody was fine with it, but apparently not. But we had to start getting some revenue. We're spending money. and
It was my understanding that it was an emergency situation. It had to be done. She had an application on file, and everybody was okay to go ahead and do it because of the exigency of the circumstances. So
Okay.
I think you're fine with that.
I think if that's the way it is, then we're good. Correct? We can just say,
Because as I understand it, this is not a career position. It's a bridge position. It's a bridge to get us through this, to be figuring out what's going on.
Most certainly.
I think we're perfectly fine with the way it was handled. And I understand where you're coming from, people stopping on the street, because they don't understand. You know, it just say it's handled, it was handled by the council, it was handled appropriately.
well, then shall we vote, just continue it the way it is, or do we require a vote?
I would think since the issue's come up, I think vote, clear the air on it, have it.
I think Mr. Purser mentioned 30 hours, is that right, Mr. Purser?
I told her we'd limit her to 30 hours this week.
Okay,
All right, do I have a motion, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion to continue the employment of the inmate that has been working at the golf course per Mr. Purser on a 30-hour work week.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Griffin. Now, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Johnson. Any other discussion prior to voting? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? By a like sign? None. Thank you. Move on. At this time, we have citizen comments or asked for. Anybody like to comment? a question?
I got a question.
Okay?
On the discussing the golf course, where are y'all at as far as appointing the board for the golf course?
We're in the process of drawing up the procedure to submit to the council for their approval, so if you ask them time-wise, I'm gonna say 45, 60 days, because we'll be drawing the document, they've got to look at it and have input into it here.
I was just curious.
Sure.
Any other questions?
If we speed that up,
We may
I'm
get,
getting worn out. I'm telling you. I'm getting worn out.
well, we will have a draft at the next work session.
Yeah, I wanted to sit down with you this week to
Sooner the
just,
better.
because you've been out there, you know what's going on. 'Cause, I mean, I just know what I've heard at meetings, and I'm going off of what I've looked at other courses, but you know what our course needs, that's why I want to sit down with you to finalize it, then it'll be ready to go.
We'll have a draft next work session, then it's just a matter of when y'all satisfied to pass it. You know, if there may be a lot of work on it, may not.
Okay, good question. Anybody else? Mayor and commissioner comments at this time. We could probably talk all night, and I know everybody's aware that wood chips are being hauled into these parks, and that's wonderful. They were given to us. We want to thank everybody that's involved, from the chief land to anybody that had anything to do with it, Natasha. But we're getting free chips to 10 or 5,000, between $5,000 and $6,000 value of wood chips to put beneath these playground equipment.
Look good.
And I thank Mr. McCall for the work he's done and made tremendous progress in the streets and parks.
And the county needs a big thank you.
Right. Thanks.
They hauled all the chips
Thank you,
for us.
Glenn.
We hauled 34 dump truck loads in 2 days.
That is just wonderful.
About ready to step up the dirt, ain't you?
Yeah.
Some Beasley.
They need a big thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
We're gonna thank them.
To help them.
With your permission, I'd like to take some pictures and maybe draft a little news article to give to Tommy, thanking Beasley and the county, and the departments. I think we had talked about this earlier, for all the work they've done on the playground. I don't mind going around taking some pictures and giving it to Mr. First for the paper.
I think that'd be great. Thank you for mentioning that. Anybody else have a comment? A lot of work's been going on around here. Land, I know you fixed a lot of bad leaks lately. Things are looking up, and I appreciate all that, the work you do. Yeah. Any other commissioner comments?
The only other comment, Mr. Mayor, is the man from John Deere. When have you set a date, or when can you set a date for him to meet with us?
I'm out of that. Whoever wants to talk to can set it up and let us know.
Okay, I mean, whoever's been contacted.
Originally, I told
Sit down and talk.
I asked him if he could meet this Thursday, and he said yes, and then Rice talked to him this morning, that he was willing to come today, and I told him, no, we didn't have it on the agenda, so we can't talk to him.
All right. But we're still holding that date open on the 26th. I think you said you didn't need to do anything.
The 26th, I'll be out of town.
Right. Any other
I'll
commissioner?
be out tomorrow, tomorrow's when.
Any other commissioner comments? I do have a need for a brief executive session. At this time, if I could have a motion, please.
Make a motion.
A motion, Mr. Richard, a second, Mr. Call. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. None, thank you.
Is this about
Regular session at this point. Mr. Cole, make a motion to return to regular session. Have a second.
Second.
Mr. Johnson, seconds the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? None. This time, if I could have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
So moving, I have a motion from Mr. Johnson, a second from Mr. McCall. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. None opposed.
None opposed.
Thank y'all very
All right.
much.
Thank y'all for putting up with my
I
little.
don't know.
Didn't even know she was
I don't
here.
know why I had that going on my mind.
I'm tired of
And I kept that thing to shut, and I kept saying, yeah.
I get you, Dave.